Good morning, happy Wednesday, happy hump day, and welcome into the number one group of five college football show in the world. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission, if you're new here, is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely will not be. We need your help to do that. We need you to hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, check the Believe Network, subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. On this Wednesday episode, we got a special guest. We're going to talk revenue share, budget cuts, scheduling, and plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. This is the Group of Five guys, and we are coming to you live.
They got Old Dominion week 3, and ODU is by no means a layup. Group of Five guys told me that, so that has to be true.
We looked at each other, we was like, Mike, the best place to be is a Group of Five. So I'm sitting here with the Group of Five guys, right?
Detroit has won, it's been a winner, and it's a special place, so it's why you want the job.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
It was across there. You want to have this thing packed out, have the student section packed out, giving those guys hell on the sideline. I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
win or lose, like we're winning the tailgate.
There's no better place to be developed in this country than Boise State.
Jeff, I got some terrible news on this Wednesday morning for you.
What you got?
Well, normally I have my very bougie coffee maker that we use that I put on the delayed timer, so it wakes me up at 5 a.m.
Oh no!
Well, last night I couldn't find the coffee pot. You ever have? I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but if you ever have a guest stay at your house, specifically, it could be a parent or an in-law, and then all of a sudden nothing is where it belongs.
Yeah.
Stuff that doesn't even get used is now no longer. Well, we didn't even have anybody here. But I can't find the coffee pot, so I go to put the delay on. I can't find the pot, so I got no coffee this morning. So I am drinking a hydration drink, Element Tea. You ever had those? It's very salty. They're very I think I got you a can. Yeah, we were because we of course were mixing it with tequila and making margaritas with it.
Yeah, I remember now.
but
I do.
But it's very salty, but a good hydration drink. I always start getting where I battle a cold or two during the football season as we travel. So.
Well, you got a week
to hydrate a little more.
Didn't drink
What's
from
that?
a hose enough as a child. Unlike myself, who was constantly drinking out of, hoses.
Buddy, I'm still
and
drinking out of the hose.
And...
Yeah. But anyway, look, you guys know the drill. You got to check out Deca Gray Coffee. Go to their website, decagray.com. Our promo code GOFG will get you a 10% discount. We've been talking about it all year. We talked about it all last year. It's roast to order coffee. So when you put it in your cart, you put in our promo code and you click purchase. That's when they roast it. That's when they bag it, ship it directly to your doorstep. That's decagray.com. Also, I know we got NFL season starting this week or starting tomorrow, actually. Make sure you check out our new partners, Level Sports Picks. Click our link in the bio. Make sure you use that to support us. But look, if you're trying to learn about how to bet, learn about how to budget, learn about a bankroll, learn systems so that you don't blow all your money like I tended to do, which is why I pretty much quit betting altogether. Make sure you check out Level Sports Picks. Jay Vandy is going to be going nuts tomorrow night and all NFL season, especially all the different quarter bets, spreads, money lines, all the stuff, player props. Make sure you check them out.
Sprouse, I got something for you before we bring on our guest.
What you got?
Our dear friend Josh Pate, I think we're starting to have an effect on him. We're rubbing off on G5 Josh because he's out there defending, putting on for UTSA in their loss against Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But I think we're having a positive effect on some of the people out there in the space.
Well, you know what it is, Jeff, and this is something I want to talk about, and maybe we can talk about this with our guest too. I don't know how much time he's got, but I'll see if he gives me a head nod if he's got time to talk about this. We got time. Let's bring him on, and we'll talk about this first. So we've got a special guest that we have Probably we met probably, I don't know, 2.5 years ago now, 3 years ago, maybe it's been. Chad Hassan from up there in Virginia. The guy's got the best morning hair of any guest we've ever had on the show. Chad, thanks for joining us at such an early hour, my friend.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
He's got, Jeff, I wear a hat about 90% of the time, but when I go to work, I can't wear a hat. And I don't have a whole lot of hair, but I gotta do some stuff, comb it over, push it back a little bit. Chad's got that Solmaz Chadwell product. Remember when we had Coach Chadwell on and he said his wife sells hair and skincare products?
I do remember that.
That's what he's got. That's what Chad's got going on there. Special.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I just woke up like this, so there's nothing else going right this morning, but the hair seems to be falling in line.
So Jeff, you brought it up. So I was going to talk about this after we let Chad go, but we'll open the show with this. So GJ Kinney came out talking about, Texas State, UTSA, big rivalry game, not being on television. It's ESPN Plus. And it reminded me of when Game Day went to Boone and they did the whole spiel at App State, but then they put the game on ESPN Plus. And I got to thinking, these early weeks, right? Like I was looking at ESPN, and I think one of the games they have on in the 3:30 time slot is Troy at Clemson. I love Troy. I'm drinking out of a Troy cup right now. Clemson fans are going to want to watch Clemson. But isn't UTSA Texas State going to be a much better game and a much more entertaining game? And the reason I say that is, you mentioned Pate. I imagine you're talking about UTSA, because Texas A&M fans are like, oh my God, we only beat UTSA by 17 points or whatever. And UTSA is pretty damn good. And also, by the way, if you watch any football, Power 4 football this weekend, especially Sunday and Monday night, you saw that half their rosters were transfers from UTSA and Texas State and all these places. But anyway, I say that, people don't know because they don't watch, and they can't watch, right? Because if you're watching, even as you're watching South Florida, Boise State, premier Group of 5 matchup on a Thursday night, all the promotions are talking about whatever SEC game is on Saturday or whatever ACC game is in prime time Saturday night. And so people don't know that UTSA is not good. And I promise you, if you put them on in the 3:30 time slot, if you're Joe Blow fan out in the West Coast, or you don't care about Clemson, or you don't care about Troy, you rather watch UTSA Texas State, and you might walk away saying, oh, number one, that was a big time environment. Number two, we talk about this all the time. When you have ESPN or ABC's top play-by-play guys and top, color commentators, and not the ESPN Plus crew. No offense. Those are, students or local, whatever. But the game just looks a whole lot better. And it looks like big-time football. And so anyway, I'm not sure what I was going to ask either of you with that. I just wanted to rant for a second.
Well, it kind of is the basis for everything we're going to talk about is the disparity in money between Group of 5 and Power 4, and the very basis of that is these media contracts. I mean, each school in the ACC is getting middle 30s, 30 million a year from their media contract, and so that's why they're putting Clemson on. It's because they've paid 35 million to have rights to the Clemson game, whereas like a Conference USA, American, a Sun Belt. I mean, Sun Belt and Conference USA, they're floating around 1.5 million, maybe 2 million. So the difference, the biggest difference in all of the money that we're going to talk about today is that media deal. So it makes sense. It's like Sprouse, you have your favorite pair of shoes that you love that you got from Walmart for $10, and they're the most comfortable. They always work. They're easy to get on, and they're great shoes. But you're gonna wear the $150 Nikes that you bought because you paid $150 for them. You're gonna wear them. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you're seeing these games get moved to ESPN Plus, or you got Troy Clemson on ESPN. You're like, why are they doing that? Don't they know that this is a better game with more talent and it's going to be a closer game? It's not going to be a blowout. The reason is because they've already bought it. They've already paid 35 million for that, and that's the biggest disparity in all the money that we're going to talk about today. The biggest disparity is those media contracts. We're ranging, I mean, Big 10, SEC are in the 50 million range, ACC, Big 12 are in the 30, 40 million range, and then you've got Sun Belt Conference USA in the $1.5 million range. So it's kind of that's where it all starts. That's where the big disparity in money starts, is those media contracts. So it makes sense that they're gonna put them on TV even if the
So
game is a stinks.
So I heard just a small snip of Tim Pernetti at the American Media Days, and he's been on this train of consolidating the media rights. Is that anything you're in the loop on, or is that even probable? Probably not, but is it even something that we can get done?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think it's kind of like, hey, let's band together here and get more money for everybody. And to be honest, the streaming platforms have gotten so much better, and a lot more people are watching. You got FS1, CBS Sports Network. You've got tons of different channels. It doesn't have, back in the day, it had to be NBC, ABC, CBS. Even ESPN wasn't considered like a prime spot to have a game. If you could get it with the rabbit ears, yeah, and you were really bringing in the crowd. So, yeah, the media stuff is always evolving, and yeah, I know there's a big push right now to consolidate. But then on the opposite end of that, there's a big push from Florida State and Clemson to kind of, hey, how many eyeballs do we as a program bring to the table? That's how much we want a cut of ACC's media rights. So it swirls around all the time from, hey, let's all go at it together, to, hey, no, I want my slice of the pie. It's just like anything else. It's what's going to be better for every single institution. And I mean, personally, I don't think that they're all going to come to a consensus and say, yeah, let's all do it together and let's all benefit, because some school out there is going to view that as their competitive advantage. They're a national brand. They're going to bring more eyeballs across the platform. So they want to get paid for that. So I doubt that they ever get anything like that done, but it wouldn't surprise me.
So we're a couple months in now of rev share and all these things that got implemented in July. You know, from your perspective, how do you think it's gone so far? And where do you kind of ultimately see this heading, after this year?
Yeah, I mean, the rev share basically is the school can pay, and so you've got, you know, at the Power Four level, they're capped at about 20.5 million that the school can pay. So Power Four is pretty level. I mean, you have some that are adding in NIL money. That's yet to be determined if you can have both or not. If there's going to be a cap on that, probably not, because of just lawsuits and stuff they'll face from capping somebody's name, image, and likeness earnings. Um, it's kind of, I don't know what direction it's going to head. You look at a game like the North Carolina game and TCU game the other night. North Carolina had 40 transfers that they paid all this money for, and TCU only brought in 12 transfers, and by all accounts invested in their own roster to keep guys, and went out and got a couple of playmakers to plug holes, and they just looked like a much more dominant team. And I've kind of viewed that as this year watching games. You look at these teams that are transfer portal heavy, and it was evident week one. I haven't done the statistical analysis on it yet, but it's like it was pretty evident in some of these games. And the North Carolina game stood out to me as, man, that they lead the country pretty much in the number of guys they got out of the portal, and they led the country in just not looking ready for week one. So if those that make those decisions are kind of looking back on this year and saying number of portal guys to success, I think I mean, it's trending downward, you would think, but it's still going to be a farm system, so to speak, from the group of five, and those guys are going to want to go get paid, because the dollar amount is just there's such a big disparity there. And like we mentioned, most of that comes from the TV contracts, but there is a huge difference in money that the Power Fours can pay versus the group of five per position for a talented, proven player. And that's the other thing, is like, you're going to go to high school. and get a guy who's been playing against little Timmy and his buddies, or you're going to go get a guy who put film out there versus some of the top athletes in the country in Division I football, and it's just a no-brainer at that point to say, hey, we want the proven guy, we can pay him, and let's do it. So I don't think the farm system will ever go away completely, but it does give you some pause on how to rebuild a team, and if you wanna just go completely North Carolina on it and bring in everybody from now. They did bring in 30 transfers, I mean 30 freshmen, so they have 70 new players on their roster, so they're trying a little mix of everything. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, and everybody's got a plan, and we don't know how those plans will work out.
So do you see where we'll look at Middle, for example, brand new facility, all this money spent there. Um, we've done enough talking about Middle the last couple of days, but do you see schools not doing things like that, facilities, stadium upgrades, locker room upgrades, and just saying, hey, we'll take this 20 million that we could get a new locker room and we'll try to build a championship roster with it?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, the rev share is always going to just be a piece of it. I mean, you know, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, there was a race to arms with facilities. I mean, Clemson was putting a slide in their locker room where guys could jump down to go get their meal through a slide, and it's like, what are we doing? And but yeah, there's got to be that, you know, there's got to be that piece of it now where it's like, and I'm sure there's some folks that'll say, hey, we'll practice down at the local high school, forget that, and our locker rooms can be, we don't even need a locker room, come dressed in your pads just like Pop Warner kids, and but we'll pay you enough to have a nice little place at your house where you can get dressed and do everything. So, and then there will be the others that say, hey, we're not going to pay the athletes because it's an unproven commodity and they're high school kids, and so we're not paying anybody, but we'll have the nicest facilities and we'll train you up and develop you, and then you can go get paid after you leave here, type mentality. So it's going to be all over the map as far as, you know, but there is a definite need for it right now, and you're seeing that with, um, there's a guy that I follow. He tweets like 3 times a year. He had probably the best tweet I've seen all year. He said, "It's not really revenue share for 90% of these schools. It's not revenue share. It's deficit share." And I thought that was a good way to look at it. So, I mean, these schools and athletic budgets are already operating on a deficit. There's not very many athletic programs that are bringing in more money than they're spending out in coaches' salaries, facilities, scholarships, those types of things. So it is pretty much a deficit share, and that's the big puzzle right now is how do we add that as part of what we have, and how do we fit that into our already deficit share budget. And there's some pretty interesting things going on out there with how to make money. I can list a few of them. One is obviously the buy games have always happened. I mean, you've got buy games with guarantee games. Those are typically between $1 and $2 million. I think Middle Tennessee got about a million last or 2023 to go on the road. I forget, to Syracuse. Western Kentucky got about 1.9 to go to Alabama last year. And you look at Conference USA this weekend. We're playing Indiana, and you got Florida. Is somebody's playing Florida? Louisiana Tech's playing LSU. All of those are going to be in about $1 million to $2 million range. Buy games, guarantee games. So that's one way. Is I think you'll see more buy games where that used to be just for, hey, we're building a program, we got to have some funds. Now it's going to be like a every year, like we might have to have 2 buy games, like we might have to go play Florida and Florida State, and those power fours, they don't mind paying for those in-state wins where they don't, they can bring in a good crowd and just kind of get ramped up that way. So I think you'll see buy games. You see in some creative stuff like, I don't know if you guys noticed, Middle, uh, they put out some type of a report that they were only going to have one uniform, and try. I mean, and honestly, uniforms, it's like one of those things. That's what we were just talking about. Is like, I don't know, 10 years ago, Oregon with the uniforms was like the number one recruiting tool there was. It was like you want to go wear those uniforms. So it's like middle has made the decision. We don't care that much about uniforms. We want to be able to pay the players. How much money is that going to save them? I mean, you typically replace one uniform a year. So you're, I don't know the price of uniforms and helmets, but they already have the set of four or three or four. So they're probably going to keep those and use those until they run out. But next year when it's time, they're going to take that line item of replace one set of uniforms and they're going to just dump that into their rev share. So some pretty creative accounting there, and they've just decided that uniforms aren't as important as being able to pay the players. And that's where you're kind of making those decisions down the list. You've got other schools that are in the Sun Belt that are deciding, hey, we've looked at our travel this year. We don't have to charter a plane one time. We're going to hop on the bus, old school, and we're going to go to every single game on a bus. And that line item that said travel, we were able to cut that in half and take whatever that lump sum is, and now we're putting that into rev share. So there's a lot of things happening like that where they're cutting travel, they're cutting, I'm sure nutrition. I don't know if you guys have been into these nutrition halls at some of these G5 programs,
Really
but these
nice.
guys eat like kings. I mean, they eat anything and everything. So there might be a little bit more ramen on the plates. There might be a little bit more, hamburgers and hot dogs. So there's a lot of creative ways, and I guess, um, yeah. So it's just your exact question, Sprouse. It's what do you prioritize, and a lot of these teams are prioritizing the rev share right now as a way that they have to compete, and so they're cutting a lot of the other stuff.
Well, obviously, the other piece to rev share and NIL is the transfer portal. Do you foresee any adjustments coming in the near future in the transfer portal? I mean, right now, what it's been has just been I can get a check here, don't even really have to produce, but I got some film and I'm going to hop over here or what do you see the future, for the transfer portal and regulations?
Yeah, I think we'll eventually, I don't know when, but my opinion is we'll get back to the one free transfer, and then you'll sit out. And a lot of folks say that, rev share or NIL has kind of ruined college football. If we had that by itself, I don't think it would have it wouldn't have been a blip on the radar. It's the gas and the fire of transfer portal and NIL together that was so explosive and has created these 5 years, five school kind of guys. But to answer your question, yeah, I think it'll probably, I mean, these coaches and these schools, they invest so much time and money into one player. I believe you shared a clip with me about Calipari basically saying, something's got to change with that, the number of times they can transfer. And it's not just for it used to be for the players' benefit. Now it's like these players are not benefiting at all. I mean, they're going to collect a paycheck, but they're going to sit on the bench. They're going to like not graduate. It's nearly impossible for a player that transfers three or four times to graduate from that school just because of the way the academics work and what credits transfer and what credits don't. So you're sending kids out and another point that Calipari made, and I'm sorry if you're going to play that clip, you
No,
go ahead
you're
and roll
good.
it. If
Just
not,
no, you're good.
uh, another point that he made that I thought was pretty good was these guys are transferring every year or every other year to go chase more money, and then they get out of and they're not good enough to go play in the NBA, or go play in the NFL, and now they have to get a job, and that job, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but right out of college, nobody wanted to pay me 150, 200,000. I had to go start on the grind and
Yep.
and grind it out for in the mid 30s for a while, and it's like what college athlete is gonna that's being paid that much money, who's used to jumping from school to school to earn more money. The job applications, they're going to be sitting at their desk at their first day at their job, filling out job applications for their next job. And that's just going to be how it is. So we're not teaching them anything in that way either. So I think that all of it from the big driver is probably going to be the investment that the school puts in now that the school's paying. These schools, they have pretty much control of how this thing goes with the NCAA. And they're going to say, I'm not investing X number of dollars in a player for him to redshirt and you go play somewhere else. We're just not doing that anymore. So I'm sure you'll see a shift at some point
Yeah, I think
back
the
to
thing that
one free transfer.
we'll see, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see it here in a couple of weeks is these guys that have a decent couple of games and then they want to use a red shirt and sit the rest of the season out and jump in the portal. So how is the school able to manage that? Like, do you foresee there being a contract of, hey, look, like, barring an injury, which I know that's a whole nother thing. I'm sure somebody could find a doctor to write them up an injury note, but the guys got to play and they can't
Yeah.
redshirt and sit out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line. Like, so the NCAA rule right now is you can't pay for play. You can't pay for play. So you're paying them for their name, image, and likeness still, even though it's rev share. You can't pay for play. So how do you define can't pay for play, but we're not paying you if you don't play? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
I know Texas Tech is doing the multi-year contracts, and there's some creative language you can put in there, like your name, image, and likeness is tied to you being in this particular city. That's one way to do it, is saying like, hey, if you're not in Murfreesboro, you're not getting paid because your name, image, and likeness is only good to us if you are here. And now, can you tie that to number of snaps? Can you tie that to position? Can you do that? I mean, probably not technically. So it's kind of that's the tricky game. And you bring up a good point about, let's say you're a true freshman and out of high school, um, one group of five school is telling you, hey, we know that you can play here immediately. Whether it's your true freshman year or your redshirt freshman year, there's going to be significant playing time for you. Or you go to UNC, and you're one of those 30 that they brought in, and you have no idea what Tannenbaum and Belichick are doing. You're like, are they going to bring in 40 transfers a year over top of me every year? And so you end up choosing to go to the group of five where they're going to tell you, hey, yeah, you can play right away. And you get there and you are a stud and you are playing. And now you're a true freshman and you're seeing time in the first week. And here's what they all want. And here's what they all want. All these players, not all, most of the players who are chasing the bag, they want to put film out there. They want to have film, college film, because high school film is kind of not, nobody really cares about that anymore. We want college film that says I can play against this caliber of athlete. And so, with the redshirt rule right now, you get 4 games that you can play in. So what is keeping a guy of that talent level who had the offers from the Power Four but chose to go to Group of Five to get playing time so they could get film out there? What he goes in coach's office week 5 and says, "Hey, coach, I know you had a plan for me. Thank you for the 4 games. I'm sitting out, or my ankle's just not feeling right, coach. I'm gonna sit out." And then they get that medical red shirt, or they get that red shirt, and they're able to use that extra year of eligibility to then now take their film that they've gotten for 4 games, and basically the school has invested all that time and money and energy into this one player, and all they got for it was 4 games. I think you'll see that happen. I mean, I think it'll be few and far between with the 4 game example, just because if a kid's playing, he probably won't risk that, to unless he's just an absolute stud. He probably won't risk that. He'll probably want to put more film out there and increase his value even more. But that's kind of what we're look, if those are your earning years, okay? If that's your earning years, you got 4 or 5 year window where you can play football to earn. You have to go maximize it. And I'm not faulting the kid. I'm just saying that's the system we have set up.
Yeah, well, we saw Ben Bell at Texas State do that, where we saw him the first couple games, and I think he was a sophomore or a junior at the time. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, sat out the rest of the season and then transferred to, I believe, Virginia Tech. And got paid. So it's a mess. I hope it gets cleaned up. I hope they put some regulations on it. I'm typically not one for governing bodies to put restrictions on things, but when you just go from, can't take a cheeseburger and fries to, yeah, you know what, just go do whatever you want. I mean, you end up running into a lot of these issues.
Yeah. I think the one thing that always gets me with those situations like Bell to Virginia Tech is, how did he know what his offers were going to be? I mean, how did he know? And it's like, is this just his agent telling him, hey, at your position, at your skill level, we think that you can get this or is it, hey, if you're in the portal, we got you. We think it's about this much, and we can't sign anything or do anything, but so it's like all these guys who are just so confidently going into the portal, at that kind of like fringe area. It's like, how did they know that they were worth that much?
Well, and there's a bunch of them that get into the portal and don't get picked up somewhere else. I mean, we see that happen all the time too, because some of them got this false confidence, and then their agents, who knows what they're telling them. I know we got to get to voicemails, Jeff.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff, and it's an ever-changing environment. So we'll see what happens. But Chad, we appreciate your time coming on, and you'll see this guy throughout the season for sure, talking about
Thanks, guys.
whole bunch of different stuff.
So. Hey, I'm ready to hang up and listen and grind through these voicemails.
We got a bunch of them.
We got some good ones and earmuffs on some of them.
Yeah.
So
Jeff just completely has given up on on censoring any voicemails anymore.
Well, I think you miss a little bit of the raw emotions. Number one, and when you got 17 voicemails, you got to cut a little bit of work out. But appreciate you, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, guys.
All right, look. You guys know the deal with these voicemails on this hotline, so we got a bunch, maybe more than we bargained for, Jeff, after Saturday, Sunday games. 615-900-4286 will be the hotline. You got a 3-minute time limit on these, so try to keep it under that. Jeff, how many we got left from the weekend? 8?
I believe we got 8 or 9. Well, a couple of them I allowed the 2-part system just because the second one was real short. They just kind of finished their thought there. But, yeah, I believe we got 9 coming up. So sit back, enjoy.
Can't wait.
Be some good ones.
Group of 5 guys. It's Andrew here. I'm calling in. I usually only call in a couple times a year. I'm an Apps fan, and I feel like Apps got some pretty good support, so no need to call in. I just want to say thank you. Even though I don't call in, I watch all the shows. Thank you for everything you do. And thanks for responding. I message y'all every once in a while on Instagram, so thanks for responding to that. Much appreciated. A couple things I want to say really quickly is, one, don't doubt the Mountaineers this year. I know my other App fans in this message board agree with this. Don't doubt us Appalachian Mountaineers this year. We're going to be pretty good. 2, some teams didn't look quite so good. Louisiana, not so great. Georgia Southern, not so great. So maybe a few little shake-ups. And, you thought Charlotte was going to be pretty good on the pregame show, and here they are, 0-1 after week 1. And so, roll Nears. And my last thing I just want to say is that I have a lot of beef currently with ESPN. I was watching the Tennessee game, watching Aguilar, and right at 3:30, that game shut off. And, I know the NFL does it, and I thought we were a proper country and that we would leave college football to let them finish their games on the channel that they are on. And then the game afterwards would be on ESPN News, and then get switched over once that first game started. But I don't know if it's Alabama specifically or what, but Alabama and Florida State, they started right up at 3:30 in that Tennessee game. I was watching Joey Aguilar ball out and didn't know what happened. So that really was frustrating. But again, thank you for reaching out. Watch out for the Mountaineers this year. And thanks for everything you do. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Yeah, Aguilar played well. Swan played well. Iamaliava did not
play well.
Isn't that something? I'll tell you, Alabama, they're going to be putting them on the CW after their performance over the weekend. So I don't know that ESPN will be
still
prioritizing them anymore.
Still rated, though.
I know.
In the AP poll. And
I know.
Zachary Branner brought this up when he texted me the other day, and this is why they've ranked all these teams in the preseason poll so high, and then they schedule them in the beginning, because then it's just like, because what, Texas, they're still like number 7. And Ohio State's number 1. I don't think either of them look fantastic, to be honest with you, especially offensively. So it's like,
yeah, well, they'll all beat each other, and then you might lose 4 times, but all 4 of your losses will be top 10 teams, and that's why they spent all of game day. Like I did Lee Corso, I wanted to see the finale, right? Whatever.
Of course.
And as soon as I'm telling you, Jeff, as soon as I turned it on, Herb Street was up there lecturing the country about how you should be rewarded for losing. Like literally quoting that, not saying like, hey, we should look at losing a close game to a good team. Like I get all that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I 100% get strength of schedule and all that, but he got up there, and then of course he has to bring up Kennesaw. He brought up Kennesaw State and McNeese State of all teams. And then, 2 hours later, the day before, Kennesaw just went toe to toe with the ACC. I know it's Wake Forest. They're probably one of the worst in the ACC, but that's fine. But then just don't tell me that Clemson and Miami and Florida State have this unbelievable schedule if they're playing Wake Forest too, but yeah, he got up there and started saying, he said, we should be rewarding whoever loses this game. Why? They're not better than that team. Like, that's what I don't get. That's where we're missing the point, Jeff, is I'm not saying that your top 4 or 5 SEC teams are not maybe better than your number 1 Mountain West American. Somebody, they might be, but what we know by the end of the season is that your 5th place SEC team is not the best team in the country. They've proven that they're not better than at least those 4 teams. So they have an undefeated, if it's Liberty, I don't care who it is. It's like they might be better than Liberty, but we don't know. Nobody's proven to us that they're better than Liberty yet. So go prove it on the field, not based on some ESPN metric created by ESPN to let the committee use and do a show on ESPN while ESPN has a TV deal with the SEC. That's where it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, we've already seen the matchup too. That's the other piece to it. So by the time we get to the playoff and you have the 4th or 5th best team in the SEC and they make the playoff, why do I want to see that game again? I can just go back on, November 3rd or whenever that team played. I can go watch that game. They didn't beat the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 team. Like, fine. You want to put the top 2, maybe even the top 3 in of fine. I can deal with that. When you start getting 5, 6 teams at the same, like we've already seen this show. I would much rather see a champion of the American or a champion of the MAC go play number 2 or number 3 from the Big Ten. Because as you saw, Ohio took Rutgers. I know Rutgers isn't, one of the top, but I'm just saying, like, I'd rather see that matchup, even if they end up losing by 2 or 3 scores. Because I promise, if you go back and look at that, the number 1 Big Ten team and the number 4 Big Ten team, I bet you they won by a similar margin.
Yeah, Jeff, and I know here we are 1 voicemail in and we're getting carried away, but there's a lot to it, and I also completely understand, like, hey, Texas is going to be a completely different team in 6-7 weeks, probably, right? Most teams are going to be better halfway through the season than they are. So you're not going to discredit Texas for losing to Ohio State on the road. Okay. Well, then don't also discredit if Tulane, last year loses to Kansas State by a touchdown on the first week of the season. Don't discredit that if you're not going to discredit the other one. And then they get up there and they're like, oh, everybody, we should be applauding these schools for playing these big, meaningful games so early in the season. And I agree, except for we've made them not meaningful because they're all ranked in the top 10. And when they lose, it literally doesn't matter. I mean, if they don't play another game, if the committee came out today, Texas at 0-1 is going to make the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I have a problem. Anyway, we got to move. We got to go to work, Jeff.
We'll stay in app country. There's a couple.
All right, this is Matt Williams7 on Twitter. And before anyone gets excited, after seeing a tweet where I might have said, I'm about to say some reckless shit. That was Friday night. I was at the game and under the influence. It's now Sunday night. I kind of have my voice back and I am not drunk or hungover. First, I want to discuss the boys from Boone. I'm not going to say that we're completely back. It was one game, and I believe that Concord has some real deficiencies, which I do believe Alvin will address. But daggum, it looked like a Mountaineer football team that I know and love. Everyone knows that last year, defense was our biggest weakness, which historically is ironic because defense and running game, that was Appalachian football calling cards. And for those that aren't familiar with the program, we hired to be our DC this year, DJ Smith. He was an App State star, played in the NFL for a while. He was actually the middle linebacker when I was a freshman. All offseason, he talked about boys flying around with aggressiveness and tenacity, and they heard that message loud and clear. On Friday night, they were flying around and arriving with bad intentions. And they weren't throwing shoulders into guys, which I can't stand. They were wrapping up and driving Concord players into the turf, which should be grass. Thanks, Tepper. On offense, Arkansas transfer Rashad Dabinian looked like the next great App State running back. Historically, App has had a 1,000-yard rusher fallen off over the last couple years. But, man, that dude loves to get north and south with urgency and runs through arm tackles. So I'm hoping that he will get there and be the next guy on that list. He's already over 100 yards, so he's well on his way. And then transfer quarterback A.J. Swan threw for 368, hit 9 different receivers, 3 tutties, did a lot of his damage through intermediate short routes. And Murph, you know, people call those easy completions. They're not easy, but, man, they're a lot easier to take and a lot easier to accept when you're playing from the lead. So in fairness to Joey Aguilar, we would throw a lot of blame at him for taking Hail Mary shots, which, you know, sometimes it felt like that was the only thing he could do when we were playing from such a deficit. So trying to be fair with him. Now, I'm about to go on a bit of a rant about Concord. This is something that's bothered me for a number of years, so hang on, and I apologize for the length here. You know, the group of 5 guys still love to talk about the power players of the P4 and then the bottom feeders that latch on and scream SEC, SEC, SEC from the back. But you don't do that for the group of 5, now group of 6. And I know you are the group of 5 guys, and it would be disingenuous to, or be hard to at least, talk about the differences and the disparity between the group of 5 schools. But I'm just going to talk about facts here. On Winsipedia, if you go on Winsipedia and look up UNC Concord, you probably have to put in Charlotte, you would see that they have 50 wins to 95 losses. That's a winning percentage of .345. All right, this is Matt again, got cut off. All right, so Concord at .345. Compare that to us, Appalachian, 670 wins to 360 losses with some ties. Now, for the Conway people trying to do the math, that's .646 for 64.6.
Was that a Sean's blast?
And I know I just threw some shade at y'all, but y'all are just below us, Conway. JMU, you're below them, and then Statesboro Sprouse. The Eagles are just below, but all 3 in the 60s. And then the king of the group of 5 now, group of 6, Boise, goes all the way up at 72.5%. So what we're talking about here is we're talking about Wake Forest, comparing, if we're using P4 terms, we're talking about Wake Forest to Clemson or Florida State. Do me a favor. The next time you're in Charlotte, drive through the Cone of Wealth, which is South Charlotte, and look in the neighborhoods of Myers Park, Quail Hollow. Drive down Province Road. Look at the bumper stickers. Look at the decals. You're going to see Carolina, Duke, State, Clemson, South Carolina, and then in the group of 5, group of 6 ranks, you're going to see App and ECU. Those are the schools that evoke fandom, passion, eyeballs, and not all in football because they know Carolina, Duke, but no greater evidence than Friday night. Conservatively, I'd say it was a 70% App crowd, and then, of course, as we got into the second half, that became a 75-80%. It was a home game. The fan sport is not on the same level. We sell out weekday night games. They can't sell out Carolina. They're hosting Carolina this weekend. Flagship University of the State, Bill Belichick, Jordan, all that insanity, and they still have single game tickets available for sale. Now, before everyone labels me as an egotistical Appalachian asshole, which, you know, App fans might be, I certainly might be, let me say some positive things. Charlotte, and I'm using that intentionally, is a good school. Academically, engineering program, business school. I have friends that attended the school. really good program, really good school, and all the things we talk crap about with close to the racetrack. If you're a NASCAR fan, great place to go. And even if you're traveling, it's a lot easier to get to Charlotte or Concord than it is to get to Boone. You got interstate, you got Charlotte Douglas. And then even athletically, their basketball program was the Group of Five. In the 90s and early 2000s when I was growing up in Charlotte, I think they were in the 8-10. They had the same problems that we do now in football. Carolina, Duke, State wouldn't schedule them because they knew they'd get their ass kicked. And their soccer program is great. I'm just saying, let's call a spade. Their football program doesn't move the needle, and it's not even fair to them, certainly not fair to us, to put them in the same stratosphere. Give them a decade, give them more. They might be closer, but today we are playing in two different sandboxes. All right, rant over. Go out.
That's a lot to unpack there. What I'm going to say is Charlotte started their football program in 2013. So when you're pulling numbers and winning percentages and all these things, I mean, you just don't have a large enough sample. Like, you can't put them in the same boat. And for the 12 years that they've had a program, the fact that they have as much support, like, to me, is very impressive. So,
yeah. Well, and I get what he's getting at is, the Charlotte folks love to talk about being in the American and this and that. I get it.
I mean, I would too. I mean,
you got to win it.
Yeah, no doubt.
You remember my original intro to this show? Jeff was like, "Yeah, who cares what conference you're in if you don't ever win it?"
it's a fair point. It's a fair argument. But I mean, if you want fans to be realistic, I mean, just
come on. If you're in the wrong sport, pal.
Yeah. Like, just look at me. I'm about as big of a middle homer as
you. Still got middle win in the conference, don't you?
I do. God, it's
what we got next, Jeff? We got to get moving here.
Yeah, let's get rolling.
Group of Five guys, Iverson Breed, CCU alum. I don't know if this will be a two-parter or not, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. But MJ Morris, he really, in my opinion, disappointed, and I was also pretty disappointed in the fact that we didn't really get to see the other QBs get some snaps and see how they fared in this new offense. Though I will say the defense, they started out strong in this new 3-3-5 scheme. They started out strong, but they started to fade because of, I think it circles back to the offense not being able to stay on the field. They were able to hold Virginia for a bit, but they only could hold them for so long before they finally, broke off and started scoring. And while there have been a lot of talks about the offense online on Coastal Twitter, special teams had some stuff go wrong too, in the sense that you have a penalty that goes into a block punt that led to a score, having a kickoff return for a touchdown, among other things. And another interesting aspect of this game was the fact that it was going into this season for both Tim Beck and Elliott on Virginia's team, their head coach. For both of them, it was a make or break year. And after this game, I could say if Virginia plays like that, I say Elliott may have bought himself some time, but I don't think they'll be as good as they looked against us. And I think that's just a testament to the poor play of tonight's game. And another thing I saw that I kind of agree with from Teal Troubadours was them mentioning that this is the most alarming game of the Beck era for them. Not in the fact that they lost, but the fact that they didn't have their sub packages, snap counts, personnel, or blocking packages down, which they say should be academic stuff, week one stuff in camp. And I also agree with their take that is the world going to collapse in tomorrow? No, but he has a few weeks to turn this ship around. Otherwise, he's going to be in serious trouble, and that's a take that I agree with. In that it's game one, so we still have I say we still have till week 5 before we know what we are as a team for the season. But right now, you have a lot of people on Coastal Twitter and just in the fan base that are calling for his job right now. And it's from the way things are going, if he's not going to be able to right the ship, Group of 5 guys, it's Iverson Reed again. I'm just part 2 of this. But I was saying that closing out, that if he doesn't get this turned around, I'd say by like weeks 5 or 6, Coastal could very well be going into the 2026 season under a new coach and regime. And that's just the matter of the game. And, for all I know, he's probably a good guy, good family and everything, but he's just not getting the results that CCU wants to have, and he's just not at the standard that CCU, frankly, needs to be at. Thank you for all you guys do, putting light on the G5. God bless, Group of 5 guys. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it, Iverson. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. They got Charleston Southern. Got to look better against them. And but yeah, I'd say seats getting a little warm.
Yeah, got to be. We'll see if midway towards the end of the season, if they're in the mix, like they tend to be. I mean, even last year, it didn't look great, but at the end of the year, they were still sort of in it. So
see what happens. We'll keep this thing rolling.
Group of 5 guys, Josh Bevel here. We're almost 24 hours removed of the absolute smackdown that we just took. Honestly, it was embarrassing. I'm a little upset. I'm a few cocktails deep from the golf course today. I had to do something positive, but that game was just truly embarrassing. Second half was rough. 14-13 at halftime, and then just second half we just kind of came out flat, but I'm not really going to go too deep into it. USC coming up next. Hopefully we can at least walk out of California 1-1 and no major injuries, but I still got faith in the Eagles. It's only first game, so it is what it is. The season's only up from here. But, shot 82 today on the golf course. Like I said, I had to do something positive today. Had to chill out. So I'm a normal high 70s, low 80s guy. So take it for what you will. I guess I'm okay at golf, but like I said, had to do something positive today. Take my mind off that loss yesterday. But beat USC. Hail Southern. God bless the Group of 5 guys.
Sorry, Josh.
Knew it'd be tough going out there, man.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know if that had a factor in it, but we knew those distractions getting out there. Everybody's family's out there. It's a lot of stuff happening.
Staying out there for a week.
Yeah. That being said, it means nothing in the grand scheme of things for the Sun Belt. So come back to Statesboro and figure it out. We'll see what happens this weekend. It's gonna be tough though.
Yeah, tough out.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Morgan here. Pretty happy after a dominant 23-3 win over Northwestern. Sent those 10 cats backpacking to continued irrelevancy. And I know you've got a ton of these to get through probably with week 1 in the book, so I'll keep this relatively short, but just want to touch on 3 quick things. Number 1, Jake Retzlaff. I think we found our QB1. Took what the defense gave him. Housed a 70-yard touchdown run, reaching 20 miles an hour on the old GPS. And his ability to find different receivers. And he did overthrow a couple and threw a couple too hard, but those are obviously things that can be easily worked on and will evolve over time as he and the wide receivers get more comfortable with each other. So really impressed myself from him just in terms of his gamer mentality. Number 2, the defense. My goodness, I can't remember the last time we had 4 interceptions and a forced fumble recovery. Joker Johnson gets 2 of those, and the chemistry that they're already showing back there in the secondary, I think is really impressive for game 1, and I can't wait to see what they do as the season progresses. And number 3, our ability to be multiple on both sides of the ball. we're able to hockey line on defense, on the defensive line, and I think that's going to be critical as we move through the season, especially getting into conference play later on. And we have a big stable of running backs. We saw Arnold Barnes. We saw Jabari Mobley. And obviously Maurice Turner. So those guys all bring their unique skill sets, and it was really impressive to see them get their first work of the season. So really, really happy game one, and can't wait to see what we do against South Alabama on a road trip. I think we'll have a good showing there. Now that we've got the Amtrak line over to Mobile, and then the big one in a couple of weeks. So let's get it, Wave. Roll Wave.
Appreciate it, Morgan. Yeah, it's going to be a good
they
game.
look good.
No doubt. All right, we got 3 left to get to. We'll try and knock them out.
What's up, guys? Zach Green here, coming to you live from Liberty Mountain at the end of the Liberty Maine game. App State fans will be mad that I called it Liberty Mountain, but I'm going to do that because it's been called Liberty Mountain for decades. Sure, pull up your elevation, comparison, blah, 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 blah. It's Liberty Mountain. Anyways, on Liberty Mountain today, not an ideal game by any stretch. We went down 0-7, and then halftime it was 7-7. End of the third freaking quarter, it was 7-7. But in the fourth quarter, finally, everything started clicking on offense, and we finished 28-7. And that was not, there wasn't any like excessive like trying too hard to run up the score or anything going on. Pretty normal drives that happened there. And we got all those points with like 2 minutes left. So to start off, the offense was not great. First drive or two, Vasco was making some questionable throws. The running backs did pretty well, but just nothing. It wasn't clicking. There was a lot of some runs getting stopped. It was just not great. Thankfully, no turnovers, but it was just not great. But by the later part of that game, Vasco and the receivers were really connecting really well. Reese Smith looked good. Dante Lee had a touchdown. Vasco ran for a touchdown. And so if that's what we're going to get, obviously it's Maine. Like, we're going to play a lot more better teams than Maine. But if we're going to get something like that, I'm comfortable with where this team was at. I'm hoping that those first 3 quarters was just a everybody gelling type of thing. I know Maine is in that situation too. This is their first game. But we've seen a lot of games this week that just both teams look sketchy for lots of the game. And I'm just going to chalk that up to that's what's going on. And because of the way things looked in the fourth quarter. I mean, you know, UNLV had a rough game last week, and then they came and played really well against Sam Houston. So I'm hoping that's what's going on for us. But a win is a win, 28-7. Not the greatest win, but also not horrible either. We'll take it. The vibes are great. The student section, as always, was great. The weather was beautiful, like high, mid-70s. Very sunny and beautiful out here. Just great to be back in the stands. Great to be back in the stadium and watching some Liberty football. We got a big one coming up this week at Jacksonville State in Jacksonville, Alabama. We'll see how it goes. Think we should win, but not going to be easy, especially with how their defense looked against UCF. So we'll see how it goes, but this one's down, and now let's get on into the rest of the season. It only gets tougher from here. Anyways, go Flames, go Group of 5. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Zach. Championship implications this week.
Big one. Big one in Jacksonville.
Huge. And now, put your earmuffs on, boys and girls.
Oh, no. Terry Johnson.
Guys, I fucking told you. I fucking told all of you. Like, I don't know anything about this team, man. We bring in Walker Howard, who probably played 6 snaps in his life. You bring in Shelton Sampson, who's supposed to be a big-time receiver, 5-star receiver. No wonder he didn't get any playing time at LSU. Guy can't catch a cold. Dropped 3 passes. We're like less than 50% passing. Couldn't run the damn ball. Rice came to play. Fuck, I don't know what the fuck this team is doing. Like, this team, like, I knew we were going to be, like, slow getting out the gate. We scored 12 points. Grand opening at your home game. Attendance was abysmal, by the way. There, 22,000 fans. It's fucking horrible. Like, but hey, I understand. No other fan wants to come to the game. If that's the type of fucking performance you put out. We deserve every bit of crow. Look, I was very cautious going. Everybody's like, oh, borderline CFP team. Fuck no, it's all rat poison. I knew we weren't a CFP team. We lost too much production. Why the fuck would I? But why the fuck would I would even think that? Why the fuck do people get your head out of your fucking ass and look at what is on the fucking field compared to last year? We look like fucking garbage. What the fuck are we even like? But even then, you should at least beat a Rice team who only scored 14 points. Your defense plays lights out in the second half, didn't allow a single point, and you can't fucking score a fucking touchdown except for a quarterback scramble. It's fucking abysmal. I am going to be honest with you. We're going to go 6-6, probably 5-7. That's just the plain Jane of it all. Okay? We deserve all the shit we should get from ULM fans and Tech fans and Texas State fans. Get creme brulee, please talk your shit to me. Stu, great win. Congratulations on blowing out Charlotte. I mean, it's just fucking bad, dude. And I'm sorry, I feel bad for you guys, MTSU fans. I'm sorry for you guys.
Yeah.
I hope you guys can right this ship. But this is fucking horrible. Dez needs to figure it the fuck out. This is fucking bullshit, man. Fuck 12 points. 12 fucking points. God bless Uber 5. God bless Uber 5, guys. What the fuck, Cajuns?
Terry, we're in the same boat, brother. So don't
Terry,
feel
yeah,
too
man.
bad.
Hey,
We shouldn't have the
losing to
expectations.
Rice by 2 is not as bad as losing to Austin P by 20, 21, 20, 28.
I think it was 10, 24-14, I think. Or was it 31?
No.
I can't remember.
Yeah, Austin P was like 35-14.
Look, I've already put it out of my brain, Sprousey. All right, let's get to our last caller.
All right, one more. Yeah, we got to go.
Oh, hey, Jeff. Let's do. I'm back. I know you don't normally do this. I hope you do this time for me. But I was blown away with App State. I felt like we controlled the line of scrimmage. I felt like the defense played great. Like the offensive line blocked well. I felt like we got hosed on the first touchdown. They called it a touchback. I felt like we were in the end zone. I would have a stern conversation with that receiver and say, hey, man, crazy idea. Hold on to the ball. Don't drop it as you go in the end zone. But aside from that, I thought we played great. Jaden Barnes had 134 yards and a touchdown. Rashad Dominion played great. I felt like A.J. Swan played great. J.J. Cole came in 2 for 4, 36 yards. I was overwhelmed with how well we played. And for all the people that were complaining about, oh, we don't have a depth chart, we don't have a 2 deep, oh, we don't know who the starting quarterback is, I say shut up. Dowell Loggins knew what he was doing. And I trust his coaching staff. I trust his players. I trust the personnel. I'm a big fan. Shout out Terry Johnson from Louisiana. God bless the group of 5 guys. Shout out Ryan Landry. Also, buddy of mine, Raging Cajun. Shout out Steeple, even though we haven't heard from him in a while. I say go to hell, creme brulee, and take the state moving to the Pac-12. I will also say shout out Zach GG Go Flames, even though I still don't like Liberty. I like that guy. He's a good dude. I just shout out Tripp and Sydney. There's some big news. Text me and I'll tell you about them. Anyways, love you boys. God bless the group of 5. Love it.
Love you too, Stu.
Stu, incredible call. Mid-season for him.
No doubt.
He's back. He is back. Yeah, we haven't heard from Steve. He's been in the chat, though.
Yeah.
Last show, he was in the chat. But look, we got to get out of here. We will be back Friday morning. We got a bunch of games starting Friday night. James Madison, Louisville to open the weekend. Incredible slate for week 2. If you enjoy the show, make sure you hit follow on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Subscribe to the channel, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Go to the Believe Network, subscribe on there, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. We'll see you Friday.